Hey everyone, Geki here. So, I watched Star Wars The Force Awakens on the day it came out in cinemas here, but ever since, it hasn't really sat very well with me. In fact, even as I was watching it, there were several things that kind of bothered me, and I really want to make a video putting some of that stuff out. So this is that video. Gotta warn you, there's gonna be spoilers here. I'm gonna spoil pretty much the whole movie, maybe even the whole Star Wars franchise. But let's just jump right into it. Here we go. Are we supposed to know who this old guy is? He seems wise, he knows all the families and what's going on, and he has the map, but who is he exactly, and how did he even get that map?
The map to Skywalker. We know you found it.
Oh, I guess he found the map. Where and how did he find the map, and how did the First Order even know where he is and that he found it? This doesn't make any sense. So over 20 years later, you guys are still using X-Wings to fight? Why? Why haven't you updated your arsenal yet? You know, 20 years earlier, before Vader was knocking around, they didn't use X-Wings and TIE Fighters, they had other ships. Because I guess technology advances, but nostalgia doesn't.
We're checking the registers now to identify which stormtrooper it was.
The one from the village. FM 2187.
How exactly does Kylo Ren know Finn's designation? Does he know every stormtrooper's individual designation number? Or just Finn's?
Perhaps Leader Snoke should consider using a clone army.
My men are exceptionally trained, programmed from birth.
Wait, clone troopers are still an option? Why did you stop using clones and start using soldiers who have to actually train yourselves and wait until they're adults to fight? Clone troopers are like the ultimate soldiers. They can have training and orders programmed straight into their brains. They can also be instantly grown up into adults. From an army standpoint, this doesn't make any sense. It's like a massive downgrade.
It's the First Order. What do we do?
No, it's not. You can't tell the difference between some junker and a First Order ship, Finn. I thought you used to work for the guys.
Do you think this will work on the stormtroopers?
Yeah, their masks filter out smoke, not toxins.
Judging by the expression on Rey's face, she agrees with me. That's really, really dumb. This whole scene with these monsters feels pointless and in the end results to absolutely nothing. So I'd like to point out that at this point in the movie, the old guy who gives the map to Poe just so happens to be on the same planet as Rey, who is a really important character and can use the Force, who just so happens to be on the same planet as the Millennium Falcon, who, once she's in space with the Millennium Falcon, within minutes is found by Chewie and Han, who then take her to the planet where Luke's lightsaber just so happens to be. That's quite a lot of convenience. I guess it's the will of the Force that they should meet. But in that case, the First Order, Stoke, Kylo, you might just want to give up because it would appear the Force is really, really biased against you. Don't really see what chance you stand in that case. Anyway, moving on.
This fast machine which you have built.
Which you have built? Wait, I mean this thing was built in their lifetime. I mean look at this thing, it's massive. The Death Star apparently took around 20 years to build, and even then the framework was already in place. This thing must have took like 100 years, even 200. They built this? When? How? They must have been building it when the Emperor was still in power.
It was the Republic!
So the Resistance and the Republic are two different things, right? Because it says in the beginning title crawl that the Republic is supporting the Resistance. But then the First Order are like a fringe group. So what are the Resistance resisting against? The First Order? They're called the Resistance because of that? Isn't the Resistance supposed to resist against the established power? Which would mean the Republic. And why aren't the Resistance just the Republic's army then? Does the Republic even have its own army? This isn't really clear.
You've seen it.
Sir, resistance fighters. We need more troops.
Pull the division out. Forget the droid. We have what we need.
So I guess for Kylo, just having seen the map is enough. But then I guess he assumed that the old guy at the beginning hadn't seen the map, seeing as he just murdered him straight away. Kylo had no idea, of course, if that guy had or hadn't seen the map, seeing as he didn't bother to probe his mind like he did to Rey. You know, people in the cinema where I was at laughed when they saw Kylo Ren's face. I just wanted to point that out.
You will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open.
I will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open.
So Rey has just realised she can use the Force, and she instantly whips out this ability. The real question here though is, how does she even know she can do that? At what point did she learn that Jedis had the power to influence others with their minds just by talking to them? She says at one point that she thought the Jedi were a myth. Did she really learn about their ability to control people with just their voice? It's kinda weird and kinda dumb. Shouldn't a planet that close to a sun be like a desert planet or something? Because it looks really, really close from space. But then, when it shows the sun from the surface, it doesn't look all that close. That's kinda weird.
How is it possible to power a weapon of that size?
It uses the power of the sun. As the weapon is charged, the sun is drained until it disappears.
Wait, he just said that it drains the sun until it's gone? Does that mean that the weapon can't fire anymore? So can the weapon fly around space and go to new suns? Or is it useless once it's shot once? Or twice, I guess. That's kinda weird.
First order. Charging the weapon again now. Our system is the next target.
Without the Republic fleet, we're doomed.
So it's pretty obvious when the weapon's being charged because it drains the sun, and that's viewable from space, and the Resistance know where the weapon is. But earlier in the movie, the First Order say that they tracked a Resistance ship back to the Resistance's base. But how exactly does the Resistance know they're being targeted? Did they know they were being tracked? That's kind of careless if they knew. It means they purposely led them back to their base. That doesn't make any sense at all. Did she read the script? Also, C-3PO says that they're doomed without the Republic's fleet. So this answers my earlier question as to whether or not the Republic has its own army. Apparently it does. But again, what exactly is the Resistance then? Why aren't they just a part of the Republic fighting the First Order? Why are they their own entity? This makes absolutely no sense at all.
What was your job when you were based here?
Sanitation.
If Finn's job in the First Order was sanitation, how exactly did he end up on Jakku shooting villagers? Did he get an upgrade, or... Also, why are stormtroopers even doing sanitation? Don't they have droids for that?
General, are you seeing this?
2 more X-Wings down. That's half our fleet destroyed.
So there's this giant battle going on, and their survival depends on their victory. And as far as they're concerned, right at this moment, they're losing the battle. Yet they're all just sitting around monitoring the battle. Shouldn't you guys, be evacuating the planet on the off chance you lose the battle? The one that by your own estimates you're on the verge of losing because you've already lost half your fleet. Why are you just sitting around watching screens? Are you guys idiots or something? Hey, wait, what? Wait, seriously?
I like this thing.
So we spend the whole movie establishing that Chewie's weapon is crazy powerful, that it sends stormtroopers flying, and that it causes giant explosions when it hits the ground. And then this happens? The movie isn't even trying to remain consistent at this point. Hey Kylo, you know what would be really useful right about now? Maybe he's just too injured to use the Force though. Or maybe not. Whatever. You know, when the Empire was running things, they probably had a military outpost on every planet. The destruction of the Death Star was probably a devastating blow, but they still had troops elsewhere. The First Order, on the other hand, apparently don't. Snoke wasn't on Starkiller, so they obviously have another planet out there with more troops. But seeing as they don't run the show this time, isn't the destruction of this base a massive devastating blow to them? I don't want to tell them how to write their story, but wouldn't it have been more interesting if they actually didn't destroy this base? I don't know, that's just my opinion on that. So that's that. I don't really have anything left to say about this. In my opinion, that's a pretty decent list of inconsistencies, dumb stuff the characters did for no reason, and even some plot holes too. I'm sure some people will agree, some won't, but that's just the way it is, I guess. So I was Geki Demi, and this is the end. Bye all!